All right. Oh my gosh. It's Woke with Kids, guys. Hi. Hey. I'm in my fancy, super fancy 3 to 4 year old dad. Happy dad's birthday robe that all fathers get. They're crappy, completely nobody cares, just sort of ratty robe.
It's not ratty.
It is. It's totally falling apart, but I love it.
One belt hook.
If there's no belt anymore.
There is a belt, but the belt hook
it's
is
just
off.
That
was going to be my Christmas present. I was going to sell it.
Hi, Facebook Live. Hi.
Hey,
How you doing? Yeah.
I
So
feel
big
like,
hands.
I feel like fathers always get the short end of the stick unless, they're not there, in which case they're the worst people ever in life.
Yes.
But if you're there
Right.
and you're present and
so you're saying the reward for being a good father is crappy presents.
Exactly.
Okay. I just want to be clear about what my compensation in all this is. Okay. It's Woke with Kids, y'all. And I don't say this enough, but share the podcast, guys. Actually, I don't even know if I even care if you share the podcast anymore. We have about 60 to 70 really righteous listeners that tune in every week on the podcast. But then we have like 2,000 to 4,000. I know it's a big range, but about 2,000 to 4,000 people that actually look at the videos that we post. So I think we might have officially crossed the threshold of this being a video show,
Right.
rather than a podcast. I think the sort of public, the internets have chosen, son.
Yeah.
Beloved. So we got AJ.
Yes.
Andrew, pronounce your last name for me.
Homily.
I really have read your name for years.
Never knew it.
And never been able to.
So Pomeli is a Laotian last name.
Yeah. So half black and then half Asian, and then that Asian is quarter. So quarter Thai, quarter Lao.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Are we talking about a complication situation?
I don't know what complication is.
Well, you remember,
but
you remember Tiger? What is happening here on the?
we got the now and later.
I brought now and later.
We got now latest. Okay, this show has officially jumped the black people's shark. We got fresh liquors.
Yeah.
On a black cheap table with some now latest spread out and a woman with long hair smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I think this show has almost gotten ratchet.
Almost.
Almost.
But it's called Woke with Kids.
But you know what? It's called Woke with Kids. I think people, by all means, please have some ratchet candy. I like ratchet candy. Look, I'm just mad that we don't have nerds here.
Oh, nerds were.
Remember nerds?
Oh,
Some
you
things are
told me I
delicious.
would.
And we worked together once at a company called the Audience.
Yep.
But before all of that, you were and are as the kids say, a rapper.
A rapidy rapper.
A rapidy rapper.
Yeah.
A young person turned rapper. A follower in the tradition of rhyme. A participant in the culture,
right,
as they say. So, how long have you been rapping?
I've been rapping since I was 14 years old.
14
so that
years
was
old.
Back in 2004.
Okay, that's is that enough time to get your 10,000 hours in?
I think so.
So you think that you're a master rapper?
I think I'm a master rapper in the sense that I'm able to do the things that I need to do.
Yep.
But there are skill sets and techniques that I have to master within that artist that reintroduce these things that we haven't heard in a while, that you switch up the vocal inflection so hard that that's a characteristic that you remember about the song as opposed to the beat or as opposed to the actual lyrics.
You're talking,
you know what I mean? Like that's like the thing is like, oh man, did you hear how crazy he went off, like how he said this thing?
I just love the way that I like the fact that you're talking about musically expressing yourself musically, you know, and I don't want to make a joke about that, because I think that's largely the problem or the criticism that people of my generation have of people. And first of all, let's clarify, people of your generation, you're a millennial, are you or are you not? Do you confess to the crimes of which you are accused?
I mean, I guess.
but you are a 20-something person.
Yeah, I'm 26 years old. I remember everything that was going on in my neighborhood and the people that I was still interacting with in junior high and high school, and I mean mostly high school, but you know, those songs kind of like take me back to that particular place.
I see.
more than anything. And not to say that like Jeezy is like the greatest lyricist of all time, but I think that there's something to be said about simplicity and kind of just saying what it actually is. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like, this is who I am. This is what I came here to say, and that's that.
Well, what about these this kind of mumble rap thing that's kind of like hip right now, like with these cats? What is Lil Yachty trying to say, or Future right now? What is he trying to say? Is he trying to be understood, or is it important that we understand what a rapper is saying anymore?
Like from a literal sense, or from a message perspective? I
think they tie into each other, but what I'm interested in is primarily like in listening to the song. If you can't understand what the rapper is saying, I mean, like, you know.
Yeah. So literally.
Yeah.
Then,
Literally,
like leaning on literally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would argue that music is, at least in my mind, it's about the emotion. I mean, obviously part of that is, comes with the territory of using language. If you're saying particular words in a particular sequence, you're going to feel a particular kind of way, especially if you're telling a story. And
that's communication.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's literally communication. But, back when they were freaking cavemen, they were like grunting. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, so those particular sounds, even though they're not ones that we're familiar with, they conveyed that emotion, or they communicated that thing in that kind of way. So
you're saying these artists are communicating the level of cavemen?
I'm not saying
beef,
that.
Shots fired? Are we?
What I am saying is
Timmy Turner freestyle?
Yeah.
Okay. What was that about? Decode that for me a little bit.
He broke it down in a Genius, and at first it was kind of more abstract in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously a lot of 90s kids are gonna remember Timmy Turner being from Fairly Odd Parents. It's a Nickelodeon show. So that was the reference.
Okay.
So Timmy Turner is a reference to Fairly Odd Parents, which is the Nickelodeon show. And
wow, you're dropping science on me. I literally had no idea that was the case. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so
what was very clear is that J. Cole just recently came out dissing Kanye West. And
I think dissing is harsh.
I think what he said about Kanye was pretty harsh. I mean, it was pretty.
I don't think that is harsh at all. I think
he said he would never top his old stuff. You don't think that's a little harsh?
I think that he's saying that, and by the way that he ended the verse, he said, in this particular state, he is actually crying out for help, which I agree with. I think that we're seeing it. I think the fact that he, just got out of the hospital, I think we've seen it. I think that we've seen very erratic behavior on numerous occasions, and maybe that just comes with the territory. Maybe that just comes with fame, and it's like, I don't know. I never experienced that kind of like pressure or like living that kind of lifestyle, so I don't know.
Sure, but I'm ready, Lord. Whenever you say, I am ready. I'm here to answer that call. to tote that burden.
I think what he said about, I don't feel like he's gonna top that stuff, but every music listener is gonna feel like that. Like you're never gonna be better than your first album.
Sure,
you're always gonna feel
that
like
was
that.
a formative material. So like
right. And so even in saying that, it's not surprising.
Right. Although I gotta say, Tribe Called Quest record for me as a Tribe Called Quest listener and fan, I gotta say hands down, this latest record is the best Tribe Called Quest record I've
Is it though?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Is it better than Midnight Marauders?
Is it better? No, but it stands, I think, in the body of work. I think it stands comparably and favorably, and it doesn't diminish the band anyway.
I would absolutely agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I would absolutely agree. And so, from my last like official release, I guess you could say, like she's been going like really well. Like I'm like artistically, I'm like way better. I have access to like way better production. My engineering has gotten better.
Your
like,
hair is much more voluminous.
My hair is huge.
It's like Samson.
Hair game's crazy.
Hair game is lit. It's lit, son. It's lit. It's a lituation. Is that the kids say? It's a lituation.
Lituation.
Yeah, it's a lituation.
And so like I look at that and I'm encouraged by it.
Good, you should be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome.
And
I forgot to get to that. Where are you from? Tell people where you're from.
I'm from Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio. So you're from the Midwest.
Yep.
You're from Trump territory, Trump land.
Not Trump land.
Trump land. They went for Trump though.
Trump did win Ohio, but there is a very strong population that is against. It's like you can look at the the color of the state all you want to, but popular vote indicates that Hillary is the person that we wanted. More than that, in the places where Trump won, it was very contested. It wasn't like it was a landslide anywhere in any state, like hard. You know what I mean? And so I think that Ohio is still one of those places where it's like 50-50, where a lot of the rural areas or a lot of the cities and counties.
I agree with you because I grew up in Virginia, so I also grew up around hillbillies and people that you might refer to as rednecks. So I grew up with a great deal of sympathy for them. But even when I was growing up around them, I was always aware that they were wrong. That the idea that the Civil War was fought for states' rights was a lie and a sham. And but even though they believed it, I knew that they believed in something that was false. And the problem that I'm having in that sense, I feel very strongly that these people in these red states who are voting for Trump, it's like, sure, on one hand, they may have legitimate economic interests. In other words, the jobs are disappearing, and they're still disappearing no matter what.
Yeah.
But that doesn't excuse resorting to racism, bigotry, sexism, in order to benefit themselves, in order to try to edge out some sort of political advantage. The only issue I have with people like that, because I'm tired of the false equivalence of like, well, Black Lives Matter is a racially charged organization in the same way that the Ku Klux Klan is. I've heard talking heads and pundits make this sort of comparison or whatever. It's
Tommy Loren or whatever.
Tommy Loren on The Daily Show, exactly, which is
the same thing.
One of the things I want to talk about, because that's a big controversy going back and forth. It's like some people are saying that type of person or that type of voice shouldn't be given any platform to speak.
National platform,
whereas I feel just the contrary, that if you're not going to engage a voice like that, if you're not going to have some sort of dialogue with a voice like that, then how can you expose it for the empty shell or empty husk that it is?
I didn't watch the interview, but one headline I saw was the idea that it's not really a dialogue if you're not going back and forth on facts. If one person, Trevor Noah in particular, is just trying to convince her of his humanity and right to live, and other people who look like him and their right to live, then it's not really a dialogue anyway, and that's why you shouldn't be giving her a platform, because it's not even a true dialogue in that sense where there's an exchange of ideas, even if you agree to disagree.
I was just reading, you probably heard of the story about the woman who went into the
Kroger's.
And they didn't have a bag that fitted her groceries, so they asked her to buy a bag for 99 cents.
Oh, different.
I'm talking about, and she spazzed out. And she spazzed out and started saying, "I voted for Trump." I mean, apropos of nothing, or apropos of everything.
I thought I was gonna witness it the other day. I was at Bank of America. This older white man was like, "This line is too long. Why don't you have more tellers?" And he was getting real loud with a bank manager employee who helps facilitate customers, and it was like the Friday after the first of the month. So for me, I mean, growing up poor, that's always the busiest day at a bank. People come in to cash their checks, to get checks, to pay their rent. Some people, depending on what it is, they want to go to a teller, and especially if they need a cashier's check or whatever. So it made complete sense. I don't know why he thought he'd go to a bank midday Friday after the first of the month, or maybe it was the first, I don't even remember, and not be in a line. Anyway, he was getting real loud, and he was like, "Well, I just want you to recognize that you have a problem here." And I was just waiting for him to be like, "And I voted for Trump."
Hey,
I thought it was gonna come. I was about to pull out my phone.
It's like by the power of Grayskull. That's the power of Grayskull now for white people.
Surprisingly,
now that a white president is like a yellow sun for white people. You know what I'm saying? Is that when there's a white president, they have powers like Superman where they can leap over mere obstacles. Things don't hurt them. Bullets don't ever penetrate them. It's a magical state of affairs. And that for the last 8 years, you understand, white people have been living under a red sun, the red sun of Obama.
Right.
which has rendered
Their powers have been diminished.
And they've been like, ouch, bullets hurt, and oh goodness, and this healthcare sure is expensive,
I'm
and
feeling
why is
poor.
life so difficult now all of a sudden? I don't understand. Why do we feel so equal to everyone else? Why do we feel like we don't have any special powers?
You're talking about Chimamanda.
There you
I
go.
love that quote from Uzo Aduba, or her real name is, or her full first name is Uzo Amaka,
Mm-hmm.
and her last name is Aduba, so she would always be called first, you know, if they went through the last names in school, and, you know, the teachers could never pronounce her name. She was really embarrassed, and she told her mom, you know, I wish my name was Zoe or something, you know, like cute and easy to pronounce. And her mom was basically like, F that. If they can learn to pronounce Dostoevsky and Michelangelo,
Hey,
they can learn to pronounce
Exactly.
Uzo Amaka. And it's
exactly.
like, makes
exactly
sense to
right.
me.
Yeah,
That's
Absolutely
how,
right.
because maybe like take a moment. I'm gonna hold hands. I don't know if I'm really a praying person, but I want like a moment of silence to like focus our energies on that one juror who is holding out on convicting that police officer, something Slager, in the murder of
Oh,
Walter
wow.
Scott.
Oh wow, yeah.
They're one juror away
Right.
from just being like, you
Touch
did it, you bastard.
his heart.
And so
Touch his heart,
I'm just
there you go.
I want to send love and healing energy to the families
That should be
of
awesome.
James Means. Is that the one where crazy white dude shot the young kid?
Yeah.
And then we got this more recent one where crazy white dude shot the former USC football player, professional NFL player.
Right, and then the dude went home.
Joe McKnight
It went home.
admitted it, was there. They let him go.
Yeah.
And on some road rage.
You really.
So there was
Oh, yes.
a
Oh my
Somalian-
God,
a
yes. Duh,
Somalian
I woke
dude.
up, yeah.
Somalian dude that like ran
He
ran
basically
over
pulled the
pedestrians
fire
in his
alarm
car.
at a school building.
Okay.
So everybody ran out. And then he ran him over and then started
That's right.
stabbing him.
with a butcher knife.
Okay, I did hear about this.
And there were a handful of people, or two handfuls of people, I think it was like 9 actually on record,
Who got,
who were actually injured.
yeah.
They were reported as being in stable condition. I think that they're healing. Nobody died, thank
Except for
God,
the-
except
the
for the guy
shooter.
who
I mean,
was the
shooter.
who was the attacker.
Yeah.
But
He was
everybody
a shooter or a
jumped.
stabber.
He was a
wasn't a
stabber.
shooter.
He was a car attacker and stabber. But all the politicians jumped on it immediately as evidence of like, we need gun control immediately.
But there was no gun.
But there were no guns, right? Tim Kaine said this. He was like, this is why we need more gun control. And then people were like,
What?
wait,
Because
there's no
initially
guns.
they were like, oh, active
Because they were-
shooter.
they
The
were
first alert that went out to all the, on campus, to all the
It's like-
students said active shooter on
Active shooter.
campus.
Yeah.
But there was no gun.
Right.
Right.
Later, it was revealed that it was actually
Yeah.
just like somebody who was dead. So it's OSU's fault for kind of reporting it wrong. It's the media's fault for reporting it wrong. It's Tim Kaine's fault for not reading it, and his team's fault for not reading it on that end. But just the fact that it happened like that is just so crazy.
I mean,
That's wild.
we obviously have too much news.
Mhm.
24-hour news is way too much. It's like,
And something else that was like, Chapecoense or something like that, the Brazilian soccer team.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right, they all died.
Oh, God. Except for like 4 guys who didn't get on the plane.
unbelievable.
So that was 15 minutes. I was like, okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I
Not
haven't
only
been able
was
to
it
watch the
15
news
minutes
much.
enough that was just like death,
Yeah.
but it was, and I love this quote. It's about from Malcolm X
Mhm.
in regards to he was asked how white people could be allies and accomplices with black people in 1964, and he responded, by visibly hovering near us, they are proving that they are with us.
Mm.
But the hard truth is this isn't helping to solve America's racist problem. The Negroes aren't the racists. Where the really sincere white people have got to do their proving of themselves is not among the black victims, but out on the battle lines of where America's racism really is. And that's in their home communities.
Mm.
America's racism is among their own fellow whites. That's where sincere whites who really mean to accomplish something have got to
You know,
work.
it is what it is. So things like this are reminding me. In South Haven, Mississippi, police officers are investigating a brutal assault involving a black woman who was attacked for asking how to make a pumpkin pie. During the week of November 21st, Nia Jones was shopping for a last-minute Thanksgiving item at Kroger's. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
When she came to face with a man on the baking aisle. She asked him, "Do you know how to make pie?" She said the man reacted strangely. I'm just going to put that in quotes because the reaction was strange, giving her an odd look and continuing down the aisle while shouting expletives. Then he returned. The man shoved Jones' friend, then punched Jones 3 times in the face and once in the abdomen area. It's a question. It's a simple question. Do you know how to bake pie? You're on the baking aisle of Kroger, Jones recalls. Then he shoved my friend and the other lady into the shelves, and he turned around and he sucker punched me.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it?
This was in Mississippi, South Haven, Mississippi.
Y'all might have to forgive me, but I'm not talking to no white people.
I'm like,
I mean, I'm not asking the time of day.
I don't feel. I'm not the political guy. Okay, I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. I'm a black dude in America trying to survive on a daily basis and make sure my kids have something. So I have to be aware. Is all it is. It's not a matter of like the liberals always saying something that makes sense to me or the conservatives always saying something that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just who is saying the thing that isn't erasing my right to exist. Because I make enough money to be a Republican. I might be a Republican if it was merely a matter of financial interest, but it isn't. It's a matter of racism as well, and that's what I can't get down with. That's what people,
And I think the thing that's so crazy
do you make pie?
The Kroger incident is because, that is the specific grocery store chain that I grew up with and I've always known until I started going out into the world and I started knowing like Pavilions and Gelson's, and in Chicago there's Jewel-Osco, or like as they call it, Jewel. I mean, I call it Jewel too because I was a resident of Chicago for 4 years. But
right.
Saying,
when you became grocery store aficionado, when you became enlightened to grocery store shit.
Well, I know that there's like a lot more grocery stores than just the one that I used to frequent in Ohio for like the first 18 years of my life.
And what's the one by your Red Lion?
Food Lion.
Whatever.
Oh my god.
But like here,
Red Lion is like a little.
Shout out to Virginia and 804 757. Oh my god.
I tried, y'all.
Food Line, y'all.
Food Line.
Ghetto shopping. My wife shops at nothing but Trader Joe's.
No. Well, yeah. Now I live in LA.
And
what
gorgeous,
you talking about? But I grew up going to Stater Brothers.
Yeah, Stater Brothers.
That's where I tried to shoplift when I was 10 years old. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
That's what we had.
It's crazy to me that all of these institutions that I used to think were safe are now being, I don't know, like decimated. It's strange.
Like that crazy woman that went off about the paying for the bag. That was Michael's.
Yeah.
When you go to Michael's, I think like family and like crafting and like, if we can, I'd like to move on to the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Yep.
One, I believe the 2,000 veterans have arrived or should be arriving within the next day or so.
That's
the protesters water protectors have been ordered to leave, I think by December 5th, supposedly for their own safety because
like
North Dakota has an extremely harsh winter. But I read just someone posted that they are preparing to fire water cannons at them again. So this is freezing or large amounts of cold water and basically freezing conditions. So we're hearing about Ohio State and Tennessee wildfires. What is the vested interest of large-scale mainstream media in not reporting what's going on? Why is it even in like a insert on the TV or in the ticker tape?
Yeah.
Basically, it's a 24-hour thing going on for months, and it's escalating as they get nearer to the evacuation order date. So why is it not on the news?
I think it's one of those instances where
have we just never cared about what happens to Native Americans?
This is still something that's very 50-50. A lot of people don't necessarily think that, but it very much is. They only have, the weapons that they have, and yes, they're using, very aggressive tactics and brute force and all this other thing, but, this could stop. This easily could stop. This could flip the other way.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people really have come to...
Our tribe and others are standing up to this development. One is that it potentially threatens their water supply, the Missouri River.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to desecrating sacred sites. First of all, I love how I read how the Energy Transfer Partners, the corporation who's behind the pipeline, is like, oh, we consulted with historian preservationists, and they said it's no sacred sites. I'm like, wait a minute, are they part of like mystical or spiritual, like, or even like let's just think of it even like a detox. You're doing the master cleanse or whatever.
Yeah. First
day, you're like, oh, okay. Second day, everything starts to come up or come out.
Yep.
Third day, the acne, everything starts to happen. You're like, damn, I thought I was going to detox. Why do I feel like shit? Why do I look like shit? As your body pushes out all of the toxins, the health and the benefit is coming, 7 days later from when you begin.
Absolutely.
So I feel like the only way to even kind of like not make peace with it, I cannot make peace with it, but to even contextualize it, it's the same thing with the Trump election. This is like the beginning of the detox. Trump being elected, what's happening at Dakota Access Pipeline, the hate crimes, everything. I mean, if I believed in the apocalypse, this would be the beginning. Because this is the beginning of the detox. And so all of the ugliest, the most toxic, disgusting, smelly, all the things that we have been hiding and repressing and keeping down is going to bubble up.
Yes, exactly.
And it has to come up and come out for it ever to be truly purged. And
progressives have got to get more of that warrior spirit in our blood.
Yeah.
Like not apologizing. Even if just because you lose a battle doesn't mean you got to concede the war.
Yeah.
Let's stop this,
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. I actually was having a conversation with somebody about this in the sense that, progressives or liberals or Democrats, whatever you want to call it, more often than not, those are the same people, those are the same communities and populations that vote their conscience. And so during this election cycle, when there was a group of people that were so diehard Bernie, when he didn't win the primaries, they were like, either I'm not going to vote at all, I'm going to vote third party, or I'm going to vote against this party that I pledged my allegiance to previously, to show that I'm doing a protest. And so within that, I would say the converse is that Republicans always vote their person no matter what. And more often than not,
I'd say so.
And more often than not, they get the thing that they're looking for, because the objective when you, at least in my opinion, the objective when you vote is that you want a certain result.
Yeah.
And so if we are voting in the 2016 election cycle, if we are voting to keep this person out of office, then clearly we failed. Because the thing the actual, modern day police that we know and love today,
so love.
As they formed that way, we know that it, predates that and goes back to slavery when motherfuckers were like managing the fields and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
overseer.
They were the
overseer.
And in that same way, I'm not surprised that the police that we think are supposed to be guardians of the good, and protecting of the citizens, are actually the people that are working on the behalf of the ones that have against the have-nots, because that's always...
Kellogg Foundation donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter, so that makes me extra hungry
for some
Fruit Loops.
Apple Jacks is my shit.
Apple Jacks, yeah.
That was my favorite cereal as a kid.
Yeah.
Apple
but now
Jacks,
I'm all about the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, I mean, the thing is that, again, I want to point out that 63 to 64%, according to this article, of the GDP of America voted for Hillary Clinton. So the money makers, the movers and the shakers, the productive people in America have spoken. And, like, how are you going to... corporations are going to serve the people who are buying the product. So...
Right.
I'd expect that to change.
Y'all who clearly don't have jobs.
Right. Black man's burden. White men out there. I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying to look out for you. I hope my tax dollars go to some programs.
Well, they already are. We gave Carrier that tax break. So
exactly.
That Carrier shit.
Carrier got
and they're still sending $1,000
$7 million, and it's still sending the majority of the jobs to Mexico.
It's not going to happen.
I like from this new Tumblr blog that was basically collating all the tweets from disgruntled Trump supporters who are now looking at all these promises that he's been breaking. Yep. This is Trump regrets. Go to Tumblr, Trump regrets.
I mean, it's and so Coulter. and Coulter.
Sarah Palin.
Really?
Yeah, Sarah Palin said
They
that the
already called
carrier
him
deal
out.
was crony capitalism.
Boy,
They literally,
woo, there is a black Jesus.
while they were getting on Hillary for giving speeches to Goldman Sachs,
Thank you.
he literally just appointed a former Goldman Sachs executive as Secretary of Treasury.
Thank you.
So, I mean, again, I give it a year to 2 years. I'm glad that some people are already saying, hey, that's not what you promised.
I am.
Check us out on Stitcher and SoundCloud and iTunes and Podomatic and the website, and leave reviews and tell people and your friends, and hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Although Amanda said that last time, and just try to keep your head up in these last 2 weeks. This is a crazy time of year.
Yeah.
People feeling desperate, people feeling broke, people feeling sad. It's time to think about families, loved ones you've lost. So,
I don't know.
reach out.
Yeah, reach out.
Try to reach out. Bring, friends around you. Be out in nature. Appreciate what you do have. Try not to dwell. I mean, I know we talk about some heavy stuff sometimes, but try to always find a moment where you can think about what you're grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shoot, if you're in an urban area, drive through a neighborhood where there's Christmas lights, man, get in the holiday spirit.
There's a lot of
man.
those.
Anything that you want to promote or tell people to be on the lookout for, being that you are an up-and-coming rapper?
What is it? Facebook.com/AJCrew, SoundCloud.com/AJCrew, Twitter.com/AJCrew, and then Instagram and Snapchat is at the AJ Crew.
There you go.
Because someone stole my name. You
Thieves.
MFers.
Haters.
Haters.
We don't do that. Hey, I'm on Twitter too.
Yeah. Mel's on Twitter.
At Melissa K, spelled out K-A-Y, says. At Melissa K says.
Melissa K says. And you can
follow me.
You can get in my DMs. You can slide in my DMs at Big Bro.
Please.
Big Brother Yaze.
Inside in his DMs.
Big Brother Yaze. B-I-G Brother. B-R-O-T-H-E-R Yaze. Get at me, yo. Slide in them DMs. In my mentions. Get in my mentions.
Say it one more time.
I love how you spelled brother, but not Yaze.